So now in this episode, I said I wanted to go a little bit into depth. Here's two episodes in a row. Okay, so I said I wanted to go a little bit in depth on how the government has attacked me here. Okay, so when I zoomed in on the screen, when I finally did zoom in, okay, so like I said, what I saw is that I saw the FBI. So I said, okay, X corporation isn't the perpetrator of this attack because they would have to hack the FBI. Because what I'm seeing here is that from the map, my traffic and my friend's traffic and I have got images of this, was always being sent through from our service provider. Like you can run a trace route, and I'm going to explain how to do a little bit of this. So so our traffic was being sent from our service provider, okay, like Xfinity, whatever, to a cloud network, or which would be a VPN, which has a different domain name service or DNS server than your service provider. Your domain name service provider or your DNS provider is what handles your queries. Let's say I'm searching for something on Google. Xfinity or your service provider has something called a domain name server that will go and fetch that information and send it back to you. My information, instead of Xfinity fetching my information and sending it back to me, Xfinity was routing my DNS requests to the FBI, and the FBI was fetching that information and sending it back to me without probable cause. And I'm going to say it again, I have no felonies. To my knowledge, I don't even have a misdemeanor. If I do, it would be a disorderly conduct. I was like 21 years old, sitting drunk on a fence. If I have a misdemeanor, it would be a furnishing charge to my brother as well, but it was reduced to a violation. All these were reduced to violations from what I recall, according to my memory. So that would mean that I don't have a single misdemeanor on my record even. Not a misdemeanor. Not even a misdemeanor. Several violations. I know that. I was a rambunctious youngster. I really was. And a rambunctious young adult. But no criminal record. Not a record that someone can look at and say that's a criminal record, at least. So, anyways, so no violent crimes, no threats to officers, no physical harm against officers or others, no propensity for violence, no involvement in organized crime, no involvement in sex crime, internet crime, nothing like this. No drug crime, no financial crime, no tax evasion, nothing like this. Okay? So, I'm an innocent man, and so is my friend. So, when I zoom in on the map a little further, the traffic will go from Newark, New Jersey, and it went from there to New York. When you zoom in on that area for New York and you look for the FBI building, it is down the street. Okay, it's down the street. The cyber attack that I investigated, that I researched, that hit me when I was on Twitter, and I said, it looks like I'm kind of being attacked. It feels like I'm being attacked. My PC's acting really kind of strange. I'm a technician. I've been a technician long enough that I can look at a computer when I'm on it, and I could tell if there's something not right. Sure enough, that very moment I was being attacked. From what I saw, I logged in the router. I think I discovered the attack around April 5th. I discovered it in my router on April 5th. Actual logs of scripts being executed by a terminal against my internal IP through my router. I had discovered that days later after I had traced the route of my traffic or whatnot. Either way, here's what I'm saying. I've got the evidence. Okay? I've got the evidence. Okay? I know what happened to me is what I'm saying. And things have been modified, but they're still the same. And I want to explain what that means. I said I was coming back to make this video to detail how the FBI and the federal government have attacked me, right? Okay. So I asked my friend, I said, hey, so I'm just curious. I want to see if this is happening to you too. Okay, so zoom in on your screen and tell me what you see, because I had him do the same thing. Went to this website called traceroute-online.com. We were using google.com for the trace. You can no longer use Google as soon as I said I was going to make this podcast about it. And our traffic no longer goes through the Newark, New Jersey FBI. No, last I checked, it goes for both of us through, changed the same day, evidently. From what my friend says, he noticed this as well. This was today we had this conversation. It goes through the Georgia, the capital of Georgia, the Capitol building. That's a 15-minute drive from the FBI. Same thing, pretty much. Or if it's in Texas, it'll be near the FBI there. I've seen different routes where. Here's my point. Okay. When I asked him to zoom in the first time, I said, I said, tell me, what do you see? He says, the White House. That would have been the second time. So the first time he saw that his traffic was being intercepted by the FBI. Then I went back and my friend and I had a conversation, and I had interpreted. I said, I'll say it for you. You're afraid for your life. He's like, well, yeah, He was beating around the bush because he knew the conversation was being surveilled, but he didn't want to speak up. Not right then. But I get a lawyer and he's willing to. So that's the first step for me. So I don't want anybody, any federal agents, picking up the phone, calling and breathing my phone. Because what the FBI did when I got on Twitter, when I got on X and said, hey, now you've got my friend fearing for his life. When I had him look it up again when we were in a video chat, I said, zoom in, what do you see? Tell me what you see. He says the White House. It was an intimidation tactic. When I started sending emails to the criminal division that won't return my calls, that won't let me leave a voicemail, they started making sure that I saw that my traffic was going through the White House. And they've done this to me several times whenever I'm in contact with them over X. It's an intimidation, a pride thing, an ego thing. I don't care. Okay? It's hey, look at us. We're the government. We're the big bad wolf. We're on you. We're watching you. I don't care. You're breaking the law, USG. You're breaking my Fourth Amendment. You're breaking my constitutional right. And you're going to face justice for it. One way or another, whether it be us resolving the situation after I fill out an SF-95 and you settle redress, that's justice for me. That's good enough for me. $250,000 is my minimum for this crime. Because not only did the government here violate my Fourth Amendment, people, what I want to explain is how they did it as well. They didn't just surveil me. There's a difference between surveillance and then targeting and hacking somebody's router when you should only do that to somebody that's, well, America's most wanted probably, and you're trying to stop them from actively committing a cyber crime or some sort of crime, right? Or investigate them if they've got like something bad on the PC. But I've been here. I've said, come get my drives, come talk to me, call me first, whatever. But I've been willing to cooperate. I've sent a letter with screenshots of the attack. I contacted the OIG, the House and the Senate subcommittees of constitutional rights and civil rights, and I contacted the DC AG, the US AG, All these people received the same letter where I explained the situation and where I explained I was seeking redress in the matter. The DOJ, Office of Civil Rights, received one. The DOJ has been informed. Okay, the FBI, I filed a complaint against them, an IC3 report. Funny, they're handling the investigation against themselves, right? You know, they're not going to contact me back. They're going to go to the DOJ and say, "Help me, Daddy. I broke the law," is what they're going to say. I mean, they did by doing this. So this put such great distress on me that it wasn't just Elon Musk that made me beat myself in the head, or an X corporation that put so much distress on me that I became suicidal with digging around trying to find a knife to take to my throat. No, it was the USG too. The way in which the attack was perpetrated. Like I said, I got so paranoid that I dove under my bed because I was up for about 63 hours straight, you know, thinking I was seeing lasers on my chest, making copies of drives, hiding material, you know. When I say material, I mean evidence that I'm being surveilled and that the government would have a reason to kill me because I'm exposing this, you know. So I was that paranoid at one point. It caused me such disturbance that I ended up in the hospital, and they pretty much force-fed me. I went to the hospital for psychiatric reasons, but the doctor, she said, you know, your alert nurse, whatever, you're looking kind of slight or whatnot, but they treated the scenario like a medical emergency because my body seemed to have been failing, and it felt that way too. And when I looked at my blood work, I had never seen it so bad. I had never seen it so bad. I mean, like, to them it was, no, I've always had perfect blood work. So several things had gone wrong in my body, and I felt it, and I'm still feeling the effects from it. So the government, I'm not gonna let them minimize this. The damage the government has caused me physically and mentally is traumatic and real, and it's called intentional infliction of emotional distress. When you target a disabled person or a person that already has a mental illness associated with paranoia, you're gonna damage their brain. You're going to damage them emotionally in some way, and I'm having to work so hard to be more proactive about managing my life, everything about my life and the scenario. And it seems may seem small, but it's not. It's not. This is about our rights, people. This is about our Fourth Amendment. This became an ADA violation with that intentional infliction of emotional distress when it came to the point that X Corporation together jointly with the knowledge of the FBI that's helping them take down bot farms or harass me with their bots. When X Corporation did that, Elon Musk did that, and when the government has targeted my friend and I and made sure that my friend sees that, well, the scary government's watching you, and Mr. Johnson, you too, this became an ADA violation. It became you exploiting my illness, sitting back, being negligent, watching how I react, knowing that I'm currently in suicidal tendency mode or have been. The government has committed a crime against me, and so has X Corporation. And it's going to be dealt with. So now what they're doing, when I said I was going to make this podcast, now our traffic's being routed differently. But guess what? Still on the same freaking network. Still on the same goddamn network, and you zoom in, you search for the nearest FBI, it's 15 minutes away. From a Capitol building, all of our traffic goes through federal or state locations. They just want to obscure it because I'm about ready to teach you how to catch these pieces of garbage that are violating your constitutional rights. That's what they are. They're just people too. Being a government official or a government agent doesn't make them any more special than you. They're involved in violating your civil rights. They're a part of a turd garbage system and your constitutional rights as well. The government deserves no respect when they disrespect your constitutional rights. They need to earn that. and we're going to snatch those rights back. And they like to kill whoever tries to. Oh, I'm not just saying that. There's past evidence of that, okay? What makes me think the government's changed? If they're just doing this to me, my family, this has had a very real impact on my life. It also includes defamation. So, in Windows, okay, there's several ways you can do this. Okay, you can use the command prompt or CMD, run it as administrator. Use the command tracert. Or TRACERT. I'm getting the Linux and the Windows command mixed up. I have to pause this